Oh boy. I don't know. So this is You Watch, I Listen. I'm Dan Perosi, and I've been doing this show with my co-host for the better part of 3 months now, 4 months. This was supposed to be episode 16, but as you know, last week, Ralph wasn't here. He had work stuff going on, and now he's completely off the radar, so I don't know where he is. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have like a talent search to see who my new co-host is, because Ralph clearly doesn't care about the fans, the show, himself, which I understand. His family doesn't care about him. So I'm looking for, this is what I need in a host. Blonde hair, blue eyes, preferably Eastern European genetics. So don't apply if you don't have that. But Ralph is... Oh, there's some... Ralph, look who just walked in. Is this Ralph Valechka? Ralph, oh my God, my co-host has decided he must have heard that I was looking to replace...
I was taking a piss. We had a long conversation.
Oh, that's what it was? How long have you been here for?
I've been here for like an hour.
What have you been doing for an hour?
I was helping you with a microwave.
Oh, that's right.
You're replacing me.
I just think everyone seemed to like Matt Spooner so much last week that maybe it's time for you to go.
Oh, that's cool. What are you going to do? Give each other a wrestler each week?
It's going to be...
He doesn't really have a deep bench of...
It's you leg drop, I sleeper hold. All right, so this is actually finally, officially, episode 16 of You Watch, I Listen. Thank you again to Matt Spooner for sitting in last week as Ralph.
Spooner's the man. I'm actually upset I didn't get to be here.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun. I think what him and I are going to do when they have like the big wrestling pay-per-views, the SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, him and I are going to do something like that each time because it is fun, and we do have a large segment of shows that are wrestling. Although on our new Twitter account, or my Twitter account that's going to turn into our podcast page, I'm still, like, I was on the phone waiting on hold for Twitter for like an hour. And they're like, we'll get you through to representative in 5 minutes. An hour later, 5 minutes.
Can I actually say some?
Go for it.
So you still don't know why it got suspended, right?
I know the reason. They gave a reason.
What was the actual reason?
Attempting to evade permanent suspension.
Okay. So that actually made me think. Twitter considers, if you're banned, Twitter says that we don't want you part of our community, that your values don't match ours, basically.
Correct. So you're not liberal.
I actually found a few people who Twitter believes are better people than we are. Because Al Sharpton, who has repeatedly made anti-gay comments, is a better...
Anti-Jewish comments?
Anti-Jewish, anti-white, anti-black.
Yeah.
He's insulted everyone. But according to Twitter, he is a better person than You Watch, I Listen.
You Watch, I Whiz?
Al Franken, who got Me Too'd, which is the worst thing you can do...
Is allowed on.
...is a better person than You Watch, I Listen. Anthony Cumia is on his 15th fucking account.
What's funny is on that account, I've been following that account that he's on now for years. All of us have. Josh, Greg, everyone. Because it was a Corrado Soprano, Junior Soprano Twitter account where he tweeted like the character Junior Soprano with his borderline racist shit. And then I find out that Cumia has been the one running it all these years.
Oh, was that true?
That makes too much sense.
Azalea Banks.
What has she done?
Everything.
I don't know anything about her.
I only know bad things. She is a better person than You Watch, I Listen. David Duke is a better representative of Twitter's values than You Watch, I Listen.
The former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan is a better representative of Twitter's values.
John Rocker. It's a parody account that only tweets about Burger King, but it says official account.
Are you sure that's not your account? You might be nihilist Arby's.
I wish I was. Even fake, real John Rocker and his Burger King love and his hate of single mothers and people who don't speak English.
And dyed hair. Put the person on the train with AIDS.
Is a better representative of Twitter's values than You Watch, I Listen.
You know, it really sucks, but I will say so many of the other shows that I've interacted with on that Twitter account, like I'm gaining on my personal one a bunch of them back. They've been super supportive. Again, the Dare Daniel podcast has been awesome. They're one of my favorites going right now. Dismay has been really cool. Invasion of the Remake. There's been some really, really cool ones. St. Paul's Filmcast, Spoilers podcast has been awesome. So again, to those guys, thank you. It's been
all better people than you watch I Listen.
Yeah, I mean, evading permanent suspension. Like, what did we do in 4 months to get suspended once to be in the category that you can evade?
I don't know
permanent
what
suspension?
you do on that account because I really don't go on Twitter a lot. But I've never seen you act like yourself. So.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Like, I openly admit that on my own personal accounts, I'm a complete asshole. But even on my own personal one now, I'm not as bad as I was on the previous one that got suspended. And the first thought is that maybe the You Watch I Listen Twitter account got suspended because of my old personal account, but I made a new email for that one. There's nothing linking the two, so I just think they jumped the gun, and I'm appealing every day in hopes that they realize one day we fucked up. But by the time they probably do it, the show will probably have a new host because one of us will be dead, hopefully, or in prison,
and the other one's in prison for killing him.
That's actually accurate. We'll carry on the brand. It'll be like the Man Show when Kimmel and Carolla left, and it's Stanhope and Rogan.
It's going to be Spooner and Taylor.
Spooner or Brian. Brian, who's running your fantasy football league, our dynasty league, which you asshole. You were there when he invited us, you dick. Byron is how his name is spelled. Or no, it's spelled Brian.
By the way, I'm pumped for that.
Yeah. So again, we're doing a dynasty league. Me and Spooner talked about it, or Spooner and I talked about it last week. So I'm gonna really let Ralph handle it because I've done no studying on fantasy
it's 10
football.
Team, right?
I believe it's 10 team. I still don't know what the buy-in is, but we'll figure it out when it approaches.
Take it from my winnings.
Yeah, that's a good
I hate
answer.
people who say that.
So really quick, I want to give a shout out to one of our favorite shows out there, Bros and Broads. Pay attention because this shit's about to get as real as could ever be. Well, listen to your favorite podcast. Do you ever think to yourself, I wish these assholes were drunk right now? Well, guess what? Fudge and Finn's #ShotsForLike podcast is about to become your favorite podcast of all time because these dumb assholes get drunk throughout the show with their guests. Join Fudge, Finn, and all their guests while they discuss sports, video games, movies, TV shows, and whatever else comes to their mind, all while letting the liquor do the thinking, and I guess talking too. Visit shotsforlikepodcast.com to choose your podcast platform you'd like to listen on and to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you cunts. And we'll be on with them on September 22nd, I believe we're going to the studio.
I think that's the date we agreed on.
Yeah.
I'll make it work.
And one of us is going to have to DD, and one of us is going to have to do the drinking.
I'll get fiance.
She's going to chauffeur both of us, so we can both get drunk.
I'll try.
Okay, I mean that sounds fair, especially if fiance's hanging out with landlord.
I barely drink anymore, so like I have a feeling that I am going to be. Sloppy.
Yeah, well. The other thing, I got drunk this past weekend for the first time since my birthday, because I'm starting to prep my body because we have a big weekend coming up in a couple weeks as your bachelor party is coming up, and I need my body to be prepared physically and emotionally for what's to come.
You get alcohol poisoning the weeks leading up.
If I didn't get alcohol poisoning on my birthday, I think I'm in the clear for the most part because if I was ever going to have it, it was on my birthday.
I really wish that we had the podcast going when that happened because we could have 2 shows worth of stories.
Well, just not even the stories, the things I was saying when I was in here. I just saw like a 2-minute video of nonsense I was dribbling out. So that would be
spilled water on 2 or 3 occasions on my feet.
Yeah, what Richie gave me the cup of water like twice, and I spilt it on you both times. So how you had a pretty busy week?
Yeah. So
work sucked.
So a couple things. Don't want to get too much into it because
you work for Pizza Hut.
I work for Pizza Hut. And they're rolling out a new pizza instead of crust, it's just burnt hot dogs.
Oh, a burnt because they did at one point have the
they actually did. That's right.
The pizza, the pig in a blanket crust. No, they were actually really good. Did you try it?
No, but it doesn't appeal to me.
Well, anything including 2 of my favorite foods, pizza and hot dogs, I'm in. And it was actually pretty good.
Pizza, they have the one where it's like almost like mozzarella sticks.
Yes,
in the crust. That's not stuffed crust.
Oh, because I was going to say they're 2 different things.
Not their stuffed crust. They're mozzarella balls.
The stuffed crust pizza is a superior type of pizza. I really appreciate the stuffed crust pizza.
I'm right with you.
I still would always prefer like the mom and pop pizza shop rather than the chain, but if I'm traveling and I know I'm going to get shit pizza, I'd rather have the Pizza Hut shit pizza than some fucking Timbuktu dog shit pizza.
Pizza goes down so quickly once you get out of this area.
The further you go south and the further you go west, the shittier the pizza gets. And I suppose once you get to Chicago, it's a different type of pizza. I've never had Chicago pizza, so I don't think but it looks like a bowl of soup.
I've never had Chicago pizza, I'll say that, but I've had other people doing Chicago pizza and not even appeals to me at all.
Yeah, nothing about that sounds like a good idea to me.
But while I was working on this project, sorry I wasn't on the show. It was just a crazy weekend.
You literally told me that I knew you were busy because you like when we have scheduling issues, we both tell each other days out.
Well,
you told me the day before, so I'm like he's fucking swamped.
Yeah, I had a setback. Not a setback, but there was some I had to take care of, and I didn't know if I'd meet the deadline if I didn't. But, all the while I was doing my
Taxes?
my taxes. Yeah,
Coloring books?
my juicing.
Oh, yeah, your
forgot
cleanse.
about-
Now, you kept... how long was this cleanse supposed to be again?
So it's supposed to be 10 days.
10 days, okay.
Which
and you were giving updates on the Facebook page for a little bit there.
So right off the bat, I did not make the full 10 days.
How many days did you make?
I actually did 5 full days.
Okay,
which
so you made 50%.
I'll tell you this. One, I lost track of the shits.
How many shits a day were you taking?
The peak was about 7. And then
Your asshole must have hurt.
well, it was all liquid. That's that
But
helped.
from wiping.
I know.
You know what I mean.
It wasn't nice.
Yeah. I mean,
Eventually,
eventually the shit's just clear at that point, isn't it?
no, it's bright green, fluorescent,
Bright green.
Halloween Whopper green.
Take the black light to the toilet and it just glows.
So, hold on 1 second. I just.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried. I think it's a
It's
plug-in.
fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that. Sorry, we had to do an inside joke. Go on.
Yeah, it was
about
real
your
funny.
cleanse.
So, migraines.
Oh, you
Day
got,
2, debilitating migraines.
I mean, is that related to the
it is.
lack of sugar and
It's
carbs, I
common.
guess?
It's common. And
And you were only having the cleanse throughout the day, right?
the only thing is I had a few almonds, which they say you're allowed to.
Almond
so
Joy?
I followed it perfectly. I had
Almond Joy?
no alcohol. Yeah, Almond Joy. No alcohol, no caffeine, no sugar. I ate a little bit of fruit. You're
People
allowed
don't
to.
realize how tough the cutting out sugar of a diet really.
The sugar was.
When I've done like limiting sugar intake, it always makes me feel like shit.
I never was hungry, which was good because
Yeah.
they actually the shakes are pretty good.
They don't taste like ass?
They're not like they definitely do taste healthy, but
Okay.
it wasn't so bad that like I was struggling. The sugar got replaced because I used stevia, whatever.
Stevia.
But holy crap, I would fall asleep at 9 every day.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna
was
say,
horrible.
I was
would
texting you
shit-
some nights at like 10, 11, and
I
I
would
know
be-
you're up generally.
asleep.
And I knew you were asleep, so you were swamped at work, and you're doing at the same time doing this
Same.
cleanse that isn't going to necessarily help you with energy.
No energy. Finally, I just said, screw it, I need to eat some, and I had a hot dog.
Nice. How many?
Only one. I actually wasn't. I wasn't starving. That's the
Last
thing.
Saturday, the landlord had some of her college friends over, and I grilled, and I made like 16 hot dogs, and I ate like 7 of them. You were like, "Where are the hot dogs?" I'm like, "Don't worry."
I wonder how many hot dogs I could eat in one sitting. I never tried it.
Now, I never tried to see how many I could eat. I'm confident if I really wanted to like attempt to put them. Well, I've done the when we did the hot dog tour for Taylor's birthday. I ate 12 that day, but that was like 1 an hour. And there's a difference when you're sitting down if you just grill a bunch and eating them. Because I've done as many as 8 in like one sitting in less than an hour.
I think I could do 10, but I would be a little.
I had my buddy Steve texted me a couple weeks ago, and he bought the there was a sale at some store. He lives in Michigan, and they had a sale of the chicken and beef combo hot dogs. It's chicken and beef, so it's just the entrails.
Oh, wait. A
And-
chicken and beef hot dog contains both chicken and beef.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
And I was like, I thought he said that he got chicken and beef, and I'm like, okay, either a chicken hot dog isn't good, but a beef hot dog is great. But it was the 2 of them. He said, 1, it made his whole house stink like shit, and 2, they were disgusting. So I think we have to try those.
Yeah, I would do.
Maybe we'll bring them on shots for like podcast. Good luck, guys. We're gonna bring in some shitty chicken and beef hot dogs.
So then I didn't eat horribly. I didn't eat great. Like I got pizza, but like I didn't gorge myself.
Yeah, which is usually both of our problems.
But then I had all this leftover stuff because I bought enough vegetable and for 10 days. I've actually only been bringing to work 2 shakes.
Okay.
I feel great having the meal at home. I actually think it's a good way to go, so I'm going to see how long I can do that.
So the cleanse plus having a meal?
Cleanse, and then I have like a light chicken-based meal or something like that.
I agree with that completely, especially I think in the case of someone that's like in ridiculous shape that they generally eat healthy, that kind of cleanse in 10 days they can do no problem. But for people like you or I where we're not necessarily in terrible shape but we're not in good shape either, it would be really rough to just go do that
I tried to
cleanse.
exercise because I remember I was going to try and run 50 miles during that.
Yeah, did
I
not.
literally got out the door, ran like to the mailbox and said nope.
So at this time you were cleansing, you weren't even staying up and playing Morrowind. You were just going right to sleep.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I would put on Trailer Park Boys and fall asleep to that on the couch.
Yeah, you were just saying before Trailer Park Boys is your watch. It is really funny. I told you 2 weeks ago I finished up Gotham. Not that I'm expecting you to watch it, but I finally caught up on Better Call Saul, which I know you still haven't watched all of Breaking Bad. You might like Better Call Saul more.
You've said that
because
the fiance gives me the other. She's like, you'll like Better Call Saul, but you won't like it as much.
I
as
think
Breaking
you
Bad.
might like it more because the writing of the characters, it doesn't have as heavy-handed stuff like meth dealing to add into like the holy shit what's going to happen, but it's more about the relationships in the characters and watching Bob Odenkirk's Jimmy McGill turn into Saul Goodman. It's specifically the second season was just incredible. So I think once you finally watch Breaking Bad, I think you'll actually really like Better Call Saul.
The only reason I have
and you get more Gus Fring.
I just run out of time. Like I don't have a lot of free time.
What I've been doing is I play Madden and I have my tablet or my laptop and I keep the show on there so I can like half kind of watch both of them. And naturally, I couldn't figure out what to watch once I caught up on Better Call Saul, so I went back to The Sopranos. Although tonight is the season or the series finale of Sharp Objects, which I've been watching as well.
Oh, they're only doing.
It's a
one
miniseries.
season?
It's a miniseries. It's from the same author of Gone Girl, so it's based on a book.
That I actually want to watch.
You will have a hard time with it. So this is what I told people.
I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard people say you'll love it. I've heard people say you'd hate it. And I've heard people like you that said you'll.
It's really rough. Now I have a general.
I really like Amy Adams.
She's the best working actress out there right now. She's my Tom Cruise when it comes to female actors. This is my general rule of thumb with movies and TV shows. I can do maximum of 2 dead children per episode. In the first episode of Sharp Objects, there's 3 dead kids, and you see it. So it's like it's a pretty dark. You can't do more than 1 episode in a row. You can't binge watch a show.
My problem is when I come home from work and I'm tired. Yeah, I can't watch anything heavy during the week. Very rarely. Like, I can watch. Stranger Things is probably my level of
something
heavy.
that you've seen a bunch of times, but it's like you can look away for a couple minutes and you know what's going on.
I did. The only show I was able to do that was Twin Peaks, but that's because I'm such a Twin Peaks fanboy. Like,
yeah, you fall in deep. Like I'm like that with the Sopranos.
Yeah, so usually I can only watch those during
Sopranos,
the weekend,
The Wire, Oz,
or
like
if I have like kind of a lull at work where it's not as stressful. But like that's why. So Trailer Park Boys was like, it's just my go-to because it's mindless and I can fall asleep and not miss plot details.
Correct. So why don't we? I reviewed your album last week, which I gave you a really good review on. I liked it. I told you I liked it sober, but I liked it a lot more once I had my medicine.
Do you understand?
The one song was so much like Tool. The one song,
not Sonic Titan.
No, Giza Butler.
Giza Butler.
The sound, the opening was a lot like Tool, and that was my favorite song.
So
I don't want to focus on it too long.
I'm not going to go too deep into. The thing I love about Sleep is what I judge an album, the greatness of an album. It's for lack of a better word, like the atmosphere of the album.
Yeah.
What are they trying to convey? Sleep was so focuses. We want to take you on this quasi-spiritual journey.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like, it's not a listenable, like, easy listening album.
No, you have to... like I said, I definitely liked it more once I had my medicine.
Yeah. So,
the other thing I wanted to ask you, too, because we've had this discussion when the one time I gave you an album, I gave you the 1, 2, 3 Big Weather, and you stated before you listened, but you stated specifically you're not a big fan of double albums. And I wanted to question one thing, and I'm not disputing your opinion on this. So you have an issue with a double album, but not an album that has 8 songs and it's still an hour long? Like you'd rather a 12-minute... bunch of 12-minute songs than a double album.
So double albums don't really.
I get that opinion. I think it's a little contradictory, but I want to hear your opinion on that. Why?
I think a double album is more than just length. A double album is the amount of songs, content.
It could be overly ambitious. You lose the message of the album when you have that many songs.
Yes,
I think that's what you're going with.
That's what I'm going for. So, granted, I don't like an album that's 75 minutes long, even if it only has 6 songs. But at least it's concise.
Okay.
Double albums tend to unravel.
Well, especially how you were saying, like, with this album by Sleep is, like, the message and the journey. In a double album, you could technically lose that journey. I think you've said that one of the only double albums you love is Stadium Arcadium.
I like that because it's not a double album in the... Well, it is double album, but the point of that album, when they made it, from everything I understood, is they wanted to make your own album.
Yeah.
That you like these songs, and I think that's a creative way to go with it.
That is a really good album.
I don't love every song on it, but the songs I do like, I like a lot. And then occasionally I'll be like, oh, I forgot this song existed. I'm not throwing this on my playlist. So it's almost like a build your own album.
That makes sense. So I was just wondering that. So now that we just talked about that a little bit, why don't you review the movie I gave you?
You gave me Sunshine.
I gave you Sunshine, Danny Boyle, Cillian Murphy. Yep. Go on. So what'd you think?
Okay, so... this morning actually was the first time that I could sit and focus on it.
You've been so swamped with this burnt hot dog pizza that you didn't even get to watch the movie till this morning.
And I have to say, I did not like this movie.
Okay.
I didn't hate it the way I hate Molly Game,
Molly's Game.
But I think of all the movies you've given me, it's probably bottom 2 or 3.
Really? I'm a little surprised, but when I rewatched it, I was like, I can see where Ralph is going to have issues with
I'll give you there's a few issues I have. None of the things I hate about it, but there wasn't a lot I liked about it. So let me actually start with the one thing I did like. I thought the doctor on board, the psychologist, who's kind of like esoteric in a weird way, I liked him. Yeah. I thought he did a great performance.
That was that Chris Evans? Which
one? No, Chris Evans was the asshole.
Yeah. Before he was Captain America. This one he was the Human Torch.
So, I liked him. And the first scene where he's looking at the sun.
That was awesome.
Great start to the movie.
The visuals in the movie were fantastic.
That might have been my favorite scene in the movie, though, because it doesn't unravel.
Watching again, it has a lot of elements of 2001.
That's a problem. There was nothing in it that I had not seen before.
Yeah.
It had a lot of Alien. Mm-hmm. It had a lot of 2001.
Yes.
And it had a lot of any kind of mission in space where they all...
Interstellar,
spoilers,
although Interstellar was more sunshine than...
spoilers. They all die. You kind of know when they're going to die.
Day is saved.
The pace of the movie, it's way too slow.
Yeah.
Then it rushes.
I will say that my biggest issue with it is the pacing of the movie. I still love the movie because I like the storytelling of you're trying to save. It's a lot like 2001 where you're trying to save life, but by the sun, it's being born out in space. Life is being reborn.
The backstory was so much more interesting than the actual movie itself.
I can agree. Like I said, I still love the movie, but I know people that didn't like it for the same reasons you're stating.
I thought a lot of the characters were boring.
Yeah.
I thought Cillian Murphy was...
It's one of his weaker performances.
He's supposed to be like
he's
a
really good actor.
like almost like a little...
he's supposed to be the straight man on the ship of everyone being emotional.
He just was boring. That's what it was. It wasn't interesting or mysterious. It was just he was boring.
Correct.
The two women scientists, they're okay, but they didn't
Rose Byrne and...
Clearly, I thought Captain America, his role was all logic, good of the mission trumps everything, but...
Yeah.
When the movie was finally winding down, I didn't really care if they lived or died. That's kind of where I was.
I agree with that completely. See, so for me, it's not a character-driven movie at all. There's nothing that you need to care about on the characters. It's very much... It's supposed to be the argument of religion versus science.
And they could have touched upon that. They started it, and I was like, okay.
And then they get to the guy that was alive.
That's my number one problem. It turns into a slasher movie out of nowhere. It does. And I hate it.
If you look up the negative reviews, that's the common theme amongst the negative reviews. It went from this very thoughtful, introspective film to a slasher film, and some people thought it was to get teenagers in there to like it.
I don't like that they made him almost like a godlike figure, but it didn't make sense. It didn't fit It didn't make sense from...
He was supposed to be like the Angel of Death.
Yeah, it didn't make sense from like a story point. It didn't make thematic sense. It didn't make... scientifically, it's impossible he lived.
It's impossible that a nuclear bomb is going to reset the sun, too.
It didn't really work on any level, and I hated that they never showed him. And I think that's usually... When you don't show a villain... That can be really effective. I found it annoying.
Yeah,
because the movie's so claustrophobic that it just was.
Besides the characters being boring, my biggest complaint is I never like that shaky filmmaking when you don't have. It's usually budget constraints that you don't want to show how bad the effects look on someone. And the Resident Evil films had this problem in the sequels. Every time there were zombies, it went to that fast-paced, fuzzy kind of look. But I kind of had a feeling when I watched it. I still like the movie, but again, do you like 2001 at all?
I like 2001. I think
2001's significantly better.
I don't think it has aged as well as, but I do. I understand its place in history. It's not one of my favorites, but I get.
So, what would you give this one? You said it was probably your second least favorite, like a 1.5, a 1.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so
1.5 only because the first half of the movie's below average. Yeah. The last third, I'd say. Worse than anything with Molly's Game. That part of the movie, I hate. I just was looking. I kept looking down on the timer to see how much time I
much prefer the first act and halfway through the second act of the movie. I definitely didn't. When I watched it again, it's the first time I've seen it in a few years. It did not hold up as much as as well as I remember. I still like the movie, but I definitely agree that it's a notch below me, or notch below where I originally had it.
I wouldn't. And I didn't even really like the first half. It was just there.
By the way, there's some breaking news here. tomorrow live on the Mike's On app at 9 a.m. with his NFL over-under predictions is Mike Francesa, if you have not been on yet. I signed up for the app.
That's my hot take, the Mike's On
Okay,
app.
we'll get to that later. So you didn't give a good review, but I did want to jump in. I don't want to spend too much time since I didn't spend a lot of time on your album, but we just talked about 2001, and this is going into a subject that I talked about with Spooner last week, and you listened to the short episode, and I wanted to get your take on this. Movies that you wish you could have seen in the theater when they came out. We said the big ones: The Exorcist, the original Star Wars, Night of the Living Dead, Psycho, Jurassic Park. Obviously, we were alive, but we were too young to process it. And that brings me to 2001, because 1 week only, AMC is going to be showing 2001: A Space Odyssey in IMAX, which I am hopefully going to be going to this week. It's a very busy week coming up, but I would love to see that film in IMAX. It's definitely on my list because that was a mind-blowing movie when it came out.
It's a great movie. It's nothing against it. It's just not up there with me as one of my all-time.
It's not one of these movies that's supposed to be this deep, like, character thought piece. It's more about the concept of life or science versus religion.
And it's an iconic movie.
Yeah,
I'm not bashing it. I just personally, it's okay.
So, is there a movie that you wish you could have seen in the theater?
You know what I would do? Jaws.
Yeah, we said Jaws last week.
I think Jaws would be the one because
that was such a game that scared the shit out of people.
Are we seeing it for the first time? And
you wish you were alive when it came out. Like, when I think about The Exorcist and how people responded when that came out, screaming in the theater, barf bags being given out.
I have three.
Okay.
I have Jaws. I have Empire.
Yeah, that's Spooner said the same one, Empire.
Because it was hated when it first came.
Yeah.
Not hated, but it was
divisive.
It was divisive. I would have liked to see that in real time.
It's funny, though, because when you talk to people that were alive at the time, everyone says when that first Star Wars came out, that opening scene over Tatooine, they were like, there was nothing like that ever before. But Empire, just because it had divisive, and then the twist, which is an all-time twist.
And then I know another one, We Were Alive, but I wasn't. I don't think I saw it in theater, and I would like to see The Matrix.
When it came out, The Matrix, Matrix was a big word of mouth movie. I remember, like, when it came out in the theater, you heard about it more and more, and then by the time it was on. This was like the very early days of DVD. I remember watching it with Jared on like his big screen TV, and it was like the most mind-blowing shit I'd seen at the time.
I love The Matrix.
The Matrix is still amazing. So yeah, I'm excited to see 2001 in IMAX. I had a couple things. There was some great news in television this week. Did you hear what show's coming to an end after this season?
Sharp Objects?
No. It's a sitcom.
Oh, Big Bang?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
I hate that show.
I have certain things, like, I understand when people like shows that I don't like. We all get it.
I don't get this one.
I don't understand the appeal of the show, and the things that, like, people are like, well, they talk about like Star Wars and video games. I'm like, I don't care. It's cringe humor, and
that's all you talk about. I know. I don't want to watch you for 12 seasons.
Yeah, like, exactly. I don't want to watch.
I've struggled with you through 12 episodes.
There's only one show that I can say from seasons 1 through 12 I think is great, and that's probably It's Always Sunny. Like, honestly,
and even Always Sunny, the last couple seasons I
thought this most recent season was great. I love the most recent season.
I didn't hate it. It just.
I'm going to be interested to see what they do this season. But a Big Bang Theory. Now, listen, sitcoms, especially when they bring in the laugh track, it's very easy to. You go on YouTube, and if you haven't done this, look up Big Bang Theory, no laugh track. It's so funny. But to be fair, there's some iconic sitcoms too. Like, no matter
I Love Lucy.
Well, and I like I Love Lucy.
I love
and Seinfeld, you remove the laugh track, and even if you don't like Friends is an iconic television sitcom.
You would have to. I actually would like to see take a show like Seinfeld. Take out the laugh track, but also edit it so it's not awkward. Like, there's just that silence. Like, I would like to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost like Arrested Development style.
Well, It's Always Sunny doesn't have a laugh track. The League doesn't have a laugh track. You don't need to have a laugh track to be funny, but it helps stupid people feel like they're supposed to laugh.
Yeah,
which is the problem. I mean, like I said, there are plenty of all-time sitcoms that Cheers is an all-time sitcom. If you remove the laugh track from that, it probably stinks. Cheers is one of the most popular sitcoms of all time. I never really liked Cheers all that much.
I like Cheers.
No, Cheers
makes me think of my dad, but I don't think my dad's ever watched Cheers.
So it is nice that we won't have to hear. Although that fucking Young Sheldon show is still just started, where they're doing Sheldon's character.
Apparently, that got good reviews.
Well, they don't use a laugh track on that one, so I have a little more respect for it. But like Freaks and Geeks, I think is one of my favorite shows ever for one season. No laugh track.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that laugh track.
No laugh track, and that one's brilliant. And that show was ahead of its time.
Didn't Malcolm in the Middle, which by the way I think is one of the most
laugh track on Malcolm.
think it started with a lack track.
I don't recall that.
I think they tried it for like 2 or 3 episodes and realized that our type of humor doesn't trend. Malcolm in the Middle is one of the most underrated comedies
That was
of all
the
time.
beginning of fucking Bryan Cranston, man. I mean, he had been around. He was on Seinfeld a bunch as the
He was
dentist.
a character actor at that point.
And then on Malcolm in the Middle, him and Bryan Cranston and the mom were by far the best on the show. They were, and now Frankie Muniz is like a mess. He's had like a stroke and shit.
Oh, poor Frankie.
Yeah, he talks like Jim Ross now, where he's like Bell's palsy face. So before we go into any picks, I watched 3 movies this week. So I wanted to just go over them really quick because they're more recent ones. On Monday night, the landlord and I went to the theater to see Bo Burnham's directorial debut. I don't know if you know Bo Burnham. His stand-up isn't necessarily for everyone. I don't consider him a stand-up. He's like a song and dance man. I think he's very talented. He's super talented. And so this is his first movie, 8th Grade. It was filmed right in Suffern, actually. At one point, they go to the Palisades Mall in the movie. It was a great coming-of-age story. What
was the name of the movie?
8th Grade, it's called. It's about a girl in 8th grade. Her last week.
I thought you
meant
grade. It took place in 8th grade.
No.
Okay,
It's done for this girl. It's no actors you've ever heard of before in it. It's your basic coming-of-age story about her last week in 8th grade. And a coming-of-age story can really suck if it's not done well. Like there was one last year that got all kinds of Oscar nominations that I couldn't stand in Lady Bird. Lady Bird was a piece of shit. This one was really cool. It was funny. It was smart. You could see the elements of his stand-up because he has a very much crash and burn style of stand-up where it's high energy. But it's for his directorial debut. He did a great job. So if you like the kind of coming of age story, 8th Grade was fantastic. Now I watched 2 on Friday. Both I streamed. The first one was a pretty popular one. A bunch of people had recommended to me was Tag. About the adults that have been playing a game of tag for 30 years. They take 1 month out of the year. It's based on a true story. Where they did these.
Wait, this isn't even a documentary?
No, it's a
movie based off a boring concept?
The concept, no, I actually think...
All right, give me a review. I'm annoyed. I just want to let you know.
I'll tell you who's it. John Hamm's in it, Ed Helms.
I know the movie now.
Yeah,
okay,
Jeremy Renner. Now, people really hyped it up to me that it was hilarious. The funniest part of the movie was Hannibal Buress was hilarious in it. Hannibal Buress's delivery, he was great in it. I will say I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was out loud funny like everyone else did. It definitely had some really funny parts. I fucking hate Ed Helms, dude. I don't know what's happened in the last year.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't know. In the last year, because I liked The Hangover when it first came out. It aged terribly. I didn't hate him on The Office originally. I went somewhere from liking him to tolerating him to now not wanting to see anything Ed Helms is in ever again. It's just something about him irritates the holy hell out of me. But this movie gets dark. There's a miscarriage angle. There's a cancer angle.
Are those the parts you laughed at?
The miscarriage angle, yes.
Shut up.
But it was okay. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. I was entertained, but it's nothing I'd ever put on again, which brings me to the next movie, and I have to preface this by saying that I am a bit of a sucker for the well-done teen rom-com, like a 10 Things I Hate About You, those kind of movies, Clueless, Mean Girls. I like those movies. I think
actually do agree with you with that.
So I saw an article on Friday that was about how that's kind of like a dead genre. Like, what's the last classic teenage high school angst movie that was funny and charming? It's really been a while. That's considered.
You have a lot of drama ones, like
I'm talking like you think about the ones when we were growing up. She's All That, Drive Me Crazy. There was a lot of them. American Pie was like a young adult high school drama.
Yeah, but I still lump that.
It's in the same vein. So this one I heard about, it was called To All the Boys I've Ever Loved or something. I think that's I don't remember the title of it. Ralph, I was shocked at how much I was entertained by this movie. It was a cast of no names you never heard of before.
To All the Boys I Loved Before.
To All the Boys I Loved Before. It's about a girl that she's like an introvert. And she throughout her life she wrote letters to like her crushes, and then somehow those letters end up in the hands of each kid, or at least 3 of them, and the dynamic of it. If you are into those kind of movies at all, this was as good a one I've seen. So I will openly admit, revoke my man card, I don't care. It was a very well done, entertaining movie. The cast for a bunch of
Miranda Cosgrove.
Who?
The girl.
Yeah, and she it's the dynamic of the family was really good. The boyfriend in the movie looks like exactly like a young Mark Ruffalo, and I said that to the landlord, and then I Google it, and everyone was saying if they make a sequel to this, Mark Ruffalo has to pay his father.
Oh shit, he does.
Yeah, he looks just like a young Mark Ruffalo. So if you like 10 Things I Hate About You, if you like Mean Girls, if you like Heathers, if you like Clueless, She's All That.
Oh, she doesn't look anything like Miranda.
No, she's very Korean. Yeah,
I did not know that.
So honestly, if the fiance would probably like this movie a lot.
Probably already has seen
and on it just came out this past week.
Oh.
And the reviews for it, like I said, were so good. And then I was reading the thing about how that's kind of a dead genre to actually make one that's making such an impression. Like, it's got like 95% in Rotten Tomatoes from the audience, which is an incredible score. So if you like the teen rom-com, the chick flick, whatever you want to call it, I will say this one was very entertaining.
You know, it's not a teen like rom-com, but you know a movie I really like?
Which?
Fuck, what's it called?
500 Days of Summer.
No,
I do like that.
I hate that
I
movie.
like 500 Days of Summer.
But I understand why people like it. I think it's stupid.
Okay.
Shit, what was the movie?
He ends up with Autumn at the end of it. You get it? Because she was Summer and she's Autumn.
I get it.
Gonna date Winter
The movie
or something.
where they're going to the Little Miss Sunshine. I know
yeah,
that's a
Little Miss
different.
Sunshine's
That's not
good.
in this genre, but I think that's one of those.
That's
movies.
a good one. And what's his name? Alan Arkin won the Oscar for it.
He should have.
Yeah, that was Alan Arkin was the best in Argo.
I had never seen Argo.
Argo's pretty cool. Argo, fuck yourself, he says to someone. He's really funny in that. So
All right.
I just wanted to give those of the movies I saw this past week. I would say that to All the Boys I've Loved Before, 8th Grade, and Tag. Tag was alright. Again, Hannibal Buress fucking killed me in it. He was fucking great, and he's always good.
So I got some for you.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on Jimmy Buffett?
I hear it's a concert everyone should see. Jimmy Buffett live.
So, my parents growing up only listened to Jimmy Buffett.
What do you mean only? Did their parents tell them you can't listen to anything but
So-
Jimmy Buffett?
They did. I'm sure they listened to other things, but literally every cassette in my mom's car was Jimmy Buffett.
So
I know when I go to one of those Jimmy Buffett restaurants and the music's playing subconsciously, even though I haven't listened to it in 20 years, I know all the words.
So if that's all your parents listen to, does that mean they can't be taken away to Margaritaville because they're always in Margaritaville?
You've met my parents. They do not seem like people that like Margaritaville.
I feel like your father might be a Margaritaville
He
guy.
used to wear a lot of Hawaiian shirts.
Well, now Greg does that. So go on about Buffett.
So, and Jimmy Buffett, he's basically the Kiss of his genre because he markets himself. He's got restaurants. He's got burger places. He's got...
I loved his little cameo in Jurassic World when Margaritaville was getting attacked by the dinosaurs and you see him running out with two margaritas. That's the best part.
He is now, because he's so young, starting a Jimmy Buffett themed retirement community.
Okay. I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan because he is a true entrepreneur. That is brilliant.
It's apparently they have concerts every week, parties. All the houses are like
Take me away to Cialiceville.
Shit, I dropped the I closed the article by mistake. But hold on, what was it? It's called Latitudes Margaritaville. Latitudes is one of his big albums.
Okay.
And
He's got a lot of music, man. His catalog is huge.
dude, I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan, but
I would go see him live just because everyone says it's like one of the
he's
most...
getting arrested for like weed or like
It's
ecstasy.
fucking Gigi Allen.
All the houses look like that. They all look like Disney World. Like
what the fuck? They look like a shitty Airbnb
yeah.
in the suburbs.
I want to live Margaritaville every
Are you
day.
going to send your parents there when they have to retire?
Oh no, they're on their own.
They're on their own. They're both sitting there decrepit, and you're like, guys, take care of
so
it.
happy that he just will do anything for a buck. I'm with you.
But to be fair, when he's making these investments, it's not like he's putting out fucking Margaritaville shoes.
You know what the best part is? So when you think of
He hasn't had a lot of failed investments.
when you think of his
he has a beer too, Landshark.
Landshark,
He was a co-owner of the Dolphin Stadium when it was Landshark Stadium.
when you think of him, what state do you associate with him?
Margaritaville.
Margaritaville is not a state. It's not even a real place.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what state I associate. California. What state?
He's from Alabama.
Why would I know that?
I don't know, but that looks like something you'd see in Alabama.
That looks like something, honestly, more Florida, for real.
Yeah, well, that's what he is. Everything's Florida with him.
Yeah, because he's appealing to the old fuckers. He's just catching this market of people that are a little bit older than our parents, that are like close to retiring, that like Buffett, and he's just gonna fucking take them for all their
I would do
worth.
a Jimmy Buffett themed party in a heartbeat. That you know what? That's my 30th
shit.
birthday.
That's a good idea. We could rent out the manor. And
Boat drinks.
Yeah. When is your birthday again?
June.
Yeah, you usually don't like celebrating your birthday, but your
No,
30th...
but I've warmed up to it a little bit now that the fiance's around, and the fiance always does it nice.
I had another question for you. I went over this to Spooner last week. Tyrod Taylor. What are your thoughts on his name?
Oh, isn't it Tyrod now?
Yeah, it's Tyrod. What are your thoughts?
I have no thoughts. What am I gonna do?
What are you going to call him?
Tyrod.
Exactly. You have some thoughts. I'm not going to call you that ass. I know people that still won't call Giancarlo Stanton Giancarlo. They just still call him Mike Stanton.
I mean, it's his name. I'm not going to reach... First of all, he's only going to be relevant for the next 4 games. So by the time it's Tyrod, he's gone.
That's true. Well, no, he's starting the season as the quarterback.
Exactly. He's starting the season, so he's going to be.
I think Hugh Jackson is trying to prove it too much. The guy dislocates his pinky and he puts him back in the game.
This is not throwing hand.
It's his non-throwing, but still, I mean, I
also think
have you
that
watched Hard Knocks at all?
I've watched the first 2
Dude,
episodes.
the fucking offensive line coach is the best.
When
Steve Wiley.
Did you see that video
Yeah,
of
where
every?
And his gut is moving.
By the way, I love Todd Haley because he's such a prick.
Well, there's a major dynamic going on there where if they don't get off to a decent start,
he's going to be the coach.
He's going to be the coach, and I actually don't think Todd Haley's that bad of a coach.
Jarvis
either.
Landry, by the way, your boy, I love.
He's an asshole.
Why do you hate him now?
Well, I still like him as a player. He plays the game the way I like, but I don't like that shit where he's saying he was underutilized in Miami. How can you say that when you broke the record for receptions in a season?
Yes.
I believe that his whole thing, his rant, is 100% a fabrication where he was yelling at them about practicing. Former teammates said he never once gave a speech like that, and it could be because he got paid now and he has to be a leader. I think on Hard Knocks, this is my big issue with it. Most of these guys, no cameras are around, and it helps their brand. He wants to get paid like Odell Beckham, and he wants to be looked at like Odell Beckham.
Well, he already signed the contract.
I know, but he wants to be looked at like Odell Beckham. He wants to run go routes like Odell Beckham.
Here's the thing. First of all, different player than Odell.
He's a slot receiver.
This is the first time I feel like you're a Dolphins fan, so
Yes.
you're closer to it. But from an outsider looking in, it always felt like he was there just because it was convenient for both of them. It never felt like that was his team. I don't know,
man. It's hard. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, you might have the better angle on it.
Like, that was a team that
among
needed...
fans, he was the most loved player next to Cameron Wake.
The Browns need a leader.
Yeah,
I
agree with
something.
that. But that's my point. I don't think he's that much of a leader. He's shown up his quarterback before. He is one of these guys that complains when he doesn't get the ball. He's not a diva by any means, so I'm not trying to undersell Jarvis Landry. But he complains that he's not getting thrown on go routes, and he runs a 4.7 40. Like, did you want Anquan Boldin running a go route down the field? No, you wanted Anquan Boldin breaking through tackles and splitting linebackers, getting mismatches. So I don't appreciate it acting like he wasn't best friends with Ryan Tannehill. Goes and deletes all the pictures of him and Tannehill together. I think he had a big issue with rejection.
I'm sure.
I do think that Miami's passing game, you have to become more diverse when you don't have a guy that's going to catch 100 balls thrown to him.
You also, when you go to a new place, though, especially a team that has
you have to make an impact.
You have to make an impact and show, I got paid, I'm going to take this team on my back. And that's what I think and it could be an actor, but here's the thing. If they go 6-5, which would be for them would be a great
6-5.
Like, no, like to start the season.
Oh, it was like on the season
they forfeit the last
the season gets canceled.
If they start 6-5, would you then go like, well, and he's having a really good, I'm not saying like, MVP level.
Of course, but he's on pace for his normal season, 100 receptions,
a
little over 1,000 yards,
that would be a lot telling
touchdowns.
than if this team's like 1-13 and now he's complaining like you said. I think that's...
It depends on how Hugh Jackson decides he wants to use him.
Jackson's not going to be on that team.
Are you going to... If they start out 6-5, he's not getting fired. He's not getting fired if they...
If they win 5 games... But it's a good 5 games. I know that's hard to say, but compared to one game of the last 2 seasons,
if they win one of their first 4 games, he's probably not going to get fired until like the last 3 weeks of the season.
What's the Browns? You want to do over unders for our show?
Yeah, I'm in for that. Right now?
No, for our football show.
Yeah.
We should go, I want to do over unders for each of the teams.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If their over under is like 5.5, I think I take the over. I know that's a tough one, but
I think I would take the under just on the premise. I think they're going to win 5 games, so I'd have to take the under. I think 5.
I also need to see their schedule.
I don't think they're a team that's has the depth, and you're going to have injuries. And their offensive line, they lost Joe Thomas, dude. That is significant at the end of the day.
It is.
It's Carlos Hyde. I love Carlos Hyde. He's never healthy. He never plays a full
16
games.
But they also have probably one of the better backups in Chubb. I think Chubb's going to be a great player.
I think he's going to be a great player, but there is a difference when you go from backing up someone and you're a change of pace back to compared to when you're starting. Like when you saw, what's his name? Remember when the Jets had Thomas Jones and then they had this rookie stud monster, Sean Green, who when he came in behind Thomas Jones, he was destroying people, and they thought Sean Green was going to be a stud, but the second he got the majority of the carries, he fell off. I think the same thing's going to happen with Alvin Kamara the first 4 games in New Orleans.
I'm right with you. I'm not on the Kamara.
I love Kamara, but I don't like the idea of him.
I hate Kamara because they traded him for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that went really well for you. By the way,
I still won the championship, so it's fine.
I forgot what. This is just a quick plug I have to give as well.
Aaron Rodgers
later today. Yeah, to Aaron Rodgers, our next guest on You watch, I listen. We are going to be on for the first time in the pit with Taylor Micah that we'll be recording in a few hours.
I am so pumped.
I'm very excited. He's been doing a great job. The improvements and the
one of the biggest supporters of this show too.
By far, one of our best guests. The improvements that Taylor has made to his show, and again, if you're a fan of the scene music, or I don't know if that's what you call it, screamo. I know he hates that phrase, but metalcore, whatever you want to call it. In the pit with Taylor Micah is one of the best shows out there, and he is a real student of this platform.
Oh, he knows his shit.
Not even. I was going to say a student, just a podcast platform, because he really listens to criticism from constructive criticism. Just little things about slowing down and taking notes and doing the dialogue. If you listen to his first episode compared to now,
his first episode's a classic.
Taylor,
I'm on doing the podcast.
Your first episode is the best, where you're typing for the first minute.
I love your first
and
episode.
Then you just burp in the middle. It's hilarious, but it's such a great look into where you started and where you are now, and we're both really excited about being on the show. And
he's gonna have a lot to talk to because what's his face, the guy from We Came as Romans.
Yeah, I saw that. Did they say how that guy died?
It had to be an overdose.
I would think an overdose.
They keep saying that they're awaiting
it's an overdose. It's 100%.
I mean,
that's sad. And I actually listened to them a little bit before, and I actually liked We Came as Romans. They're solid. So
I don't go deep with them, but
that's a sad day in that community. So make sure you look out if you want to hear Ralph and Dan on In the Pit with Taylor Mike. I believe listen to this episode the whole way through first.
Dudley.
Then go to In the Pit with Taylor Micah. Subscribe, leave him a review, and listen to us. And if you're into that music, you got to listen to it because he's going to tell you.
Friend of the show.
One of our best friends of the show. Yeah, so we'll be on that. So why don't we go into our picks for this week?
Okay.
So you go first since you weren't here last week. And then I have a couple other stories when we're done.
Yeah, I got a few more things. So last week I told you, or 2 weeks ago rather, that this album, The Sciences, was going to be easy mode.
Yeah.
The reason I said that is I am going to give you a marathon album.
A what?
I am going to give you...
Ignored it. Good work.
Dope Smoker, Sleep's best album.
Okay, so what's the difference between this album and The Sciences?
So I'm going to do it a little different.
Is it one word, Dope Smoker? Or two?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I mean,
so
that shouldn't matter. It's one or the other.
The other Sleep, who just happens to have a song called Dope Smoker with a space.
Song or album? Both.
That's the thing.
Okay. Whoa. Is this like an hour-long song?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God.
So I'll tell you why I love the band Sleep. Sleep is an experience. Sleep is a band where...
I wish I got more of it.
I wish you would...
I wish I wouldn't wake up.
So, the reason I love Sleep is they are a band that does, this is what we're giving you, like it, great. If you don't, whatever. They don't do anything. They're not sellouts. They do nothing other than what they want. When this album came out, they wanted to top their previous album, which was Sleep's Holy Mountain, which was okay. And they decided they were going to make one epic album, which is one song. Called Dope Smoker.
Fair.
Not one of these Dream Theater where it's like really 10 songs with like bridges and breakdowns and they sew it together to say it's one. It's one song with a main riff, chorus, guitar solos. It changes a little bit, but it is a challenge to get through. First time I heard it, I said, what the fuck is this? Why would they do this? The reason they did it is because a record label said, no, we want something more commercial. And they gave them that. And then the record label said, no, we'll give you a new advance, record something else. And they went, no. And then they broke up.
I love that they don't give a fuck. I love that.
The album is, you have to put the headphones on, lie down, and you go through a journey into the world of Dope Smoker. The lyrics kind of make sense, but it is about like a cult that worships the weed plant and, just the same theme that they offer. But it really is. When you're done with it, you feel exhausted, and you feel that you walked with them through.
And it's one song?
I think they have a live version of Sonic Titan, which was from The Sciences, like a demo or something, because they re-released it years later, and they said, well, you waited this long, we might as well give you a second song. But
what year did this come out?
99.
99, okay. So
there's a couple different versions of it. They actually had problems recording it because they couldn't get the same song each time. They kept messing up.
Or imagine they messed up recording, and they used the laptop microphone rather than... Taylor just did that in the pit recently.
Good for him.
I was like, see, it happens to the best of us, or the worst, I guess.
I understand. It's a challenging album, but I think you get a big payoff, and you actually feel whatever they're going for. If it works, you go, I get it.
Yeah.
I can only listen to this album once, like every 3 years.
That was kind of what I caught with The Sciences, too, that it was like, it took, like, the first time I listened to it, I was like, what did I just experience? And then I listened to it again sober. I'm like, all right, I get it. And then when I listened to it some THC in my system, I felt fantastic about it. I understood what they were doing. They are for being a bunch of stoners, they are a very thoughtful band. There's no missed detail in what I heard. So I really appreciated that. So I'm very, very excited to listen to this one.
This is an adventure, and granted, you might not like it because it's definitely not for anyone. I think you have to respect that they said the album eventually got released. The record company released it under the name Jerusalem.
Okay.
And it had 5 parts. It was basically the same thing, but they split it up by 5 tracks. And the band said, "No, don't listen to that.
No, what are you doing?
You should start it, and you shouldn't touch the next track button at all."
It sounds like one of what I think is one of the greatest songs ever. That's actually pretty long. It's not an hour long.
Alice's Restaurant?
No, I was going to say That's Your Horoscope Today by Weird Al. Remember when we were listening to that? We were listening to that when we were coming back
to Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, that's it. Yeah, not that's on the same album. Albuquerque.
Yeah,
that's
the same album.
Albuquerque's
11 minutes or 12 minutes.
It's a wonderful song.
Albuquerque.
We listened to that on our whole drive back from Cooperstown, and you and I knew like almost every word.
It's funny. I didn't remember it until it played, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, I can say like Weird Al's music is probably one of those guys I can remember the words to most of his songs.
Weird Al has had such a great career.
I would love to go see him live.
I would too.
I think he's playing nearby in the near future, so we'd have to go. All right, so the album you gave me this week is Sleep, Dope Smoker. So I'm gonna give you.
And by the way, this is the last metal album I give you for a while because I've given you a few back to back.
I've only gotten one hip hop album technically, right?
I have a couple lined up for you.
Cool.
Just depends how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll be driving over here and just put my iPod on shuffle. I still use an iPod.
Just not with headphones on while you're driving, right?
Yeah, I do.
Spooner used to do that.
I believe it.
He would show up to my house and he has 2 earbuds in. I'm like, this tremendous asshole. I'm like, then we're both. He's driving me somewhere. We both have one headphone in.
It's because a cop can't see him. So
yeah,
he
has to sit on phone books. All right, so let me give you my movie now. So I've gone on a couple streaks of giving you sci-fi. So I think I want to give you something that's a little bit different. Kind of like an action drama. It's a revenge film.
Taken. Got it.
No, not Taken.
Next.
It's starring Kevin Bacon. It's called Death Sentence.
I love Kevin Bacon.
Okay, so Death Sentence, the premise of this movie. So let me give you a little backlog on the first time I saw this movie.
Is sentence with an A or an E?
I'm not answering that.
Let's Google
you just
it.
gave me shit about Dope Smoker being 1 or 2 words, and you don't know how to spell sentence.
I don't have spell check on this. It is an E.
Yeah, no shit. So Death Sentence.
A set of words that is complete in itself, typically containing a subject and a predicate, conveying a statement, question, exclamation, or command, and consisting of a main clause.
You know, it
and
usually helps if
one
you
or more
speak into the mic. Oh no!
A set of words,
asshole. So Death Sentence. I think it came out in 2007, 2008. I want to say. John Goodman's also in it.
Oh,
and the first
yeah.
time I saw this movie was at Jared's apartment. It was me, Jared, Spooner, Kenyatta, and Mike White. And I didn't know much about the movie. I just know that I really like Kevin Bacon. And I'm not kidding you. Within the first 20 minutes of this movie, sitting with 4 young adult males, 18 to 20 years old, and we're all sitting there like our eyes welling up because it rips your heart out in the first 20 minutes. You've seen John Wick? Have you seen John Wick?
No, but I know.
Okay,
I know the
you know the dog.
Yeah.
Worse than that. It's about
His Tremor.
Yeah, it's actually a sequel to Tremors. Tremors Death Sentence. So the premise of the movie, his son, there's a gang initiation that happens involving his son, and it unravels from there. It is a very, very intense movie. Some ridiculous action sequences. There's a scene in a parking garage that is filmed so well. Not enough people have seen this movie too, but it is, if you like a good revenge movie, kind of like a chase movie, this one is really good, but it's very, very tough. There's some really graphic and upsetting scenes. John Goodman's great in it. There's some other actors you'll recognize in it as well. But this is one of the most under radar action films you'll see. Most people never even heard of it.
I've
honestly.
never heard of it.
But I am with you. I fucking love Kevin Bacon.
I'm a big Kevin Bacon
Kevin
fan.
Bacon fucking rules. So I'm very, very excited.
John Goodman too. I mean,
yeah, John Goodman. He has a good part in it. Goodman, I always like him in kind of like a villainous kind of role. Like 10 Cloverfield Lane was incredible.
He can play, I think, any role.
Yeah,
I think he's
besides Babe Ruth.
after Gary Oldman, I think he's the best current actor.
Really?
I really think he's that
so
great.
I will. I'm not going to disagree with you because I thought he kind of got robbed of a significant award nomination for 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't, but I also.
You don't have to like the original Cloverfield to watch this one.
I
nothing
actually
to do
started
with
it. I just never came back and finished it.
It's one of the coolest movies in the sense that it goes from like this psychological thriller to like a sci-fi film within a short order. Like it takes this
Was this
dramatic
a
turn.
reverse of Sunshine?
Yeah, kind of, but it's always teased in the background that it's like a sci-fi film too. You just don't know what's real and what's not. So anyway, with Death Sentence, like I will never forget that moment watching that movie and being in a room with 4 other adults and all of us sitting there like about to cry because of how it rips your heart out
assume
instantly.
Mike White wasn't crying because he's a robot.
No, he got like teary-eyed too, which we have to get to a Howard Michael Kelly story because we forgot when we did our episode 15, but I covered one with Spooner last week. So our picks for this week on You Watch I Listen, Sleep Dope Smokers, the album, and Death Sentence starring Kevin Bacon is the movie. Actually, the director of Death Sentence is the same guy that did what's his name? I forgot his name, but he did the Conjuring films. He did the Saw movies. Before he really did all the. It's after Saw, obviously.
I hate the Conjuring. I know you and I differ on that. I think the Conjuring is one of the.
You don't like those kind of horror films, though. Which, by the way, Taylor watched Hereditary last night, and he does not like horror at all. He's like, "This is the most fucking disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life."
I tried to watch. The fiance goes, "You never take me to the movies."
And then you tried to.
I tried 3 times, and no, it's not good, Dad. Now she's complaining that she didn't get to see it.
It's available to stream now, so you can watch it at home. I tried convincing the landlord to watch it, but no luck. So again, I have a couple other stories here.
Yeah, I got a few too.
All right, why don't you go?
All right, so I got 2. Which one do you want? Do you want?
Surprise me.
What are your thoughts on the Smashing Pumpkins?
I love certain Smashing Pumpkins.
What are your thoughts on Smash Mouth?
All Star is one of the most important songs in American history.
Smash Mouth and Smashing Pumpkins have a feud going on.
Okay, is this a Twitter feud?
No, it's based around Shrek.
What? What do you mean around Shrek?
Billy Corgan came out and he said that they
good for him. I'm proud of him.
Good for him. He said that Smashing Pumpkins were the first choice to do the ending theme to Shrek.
All Star?
No, it was a different song.
Oh, I'm a Believer. They did a cover of the Monkees. I'm a Believer, didn't they?
It wasn't I'm a Believer. It was just one of the Smashing Pumpkins songs. I forgot which one. And they said, no, we're not doing it for a kids' movie. And Smash Mouth got the offer, and their career hasn't really done anything since.
That was their peak, to be honest. Was their peak. They did that, and then they were in Rat Race. At the end.
So
who remembers Rat Race?
Smashing Pumpkins, Smash Mouth, because they got nothing else going on, said, bullshit. Our phone wouldn't stop ringing off the hook. They wanted us. I'm a Believer, one of the most important songs to that movie. Smashing Pumpkins had nothing to do with it. Billy Corgan's an asshole.
I can't picture Billy Corgan singing I'm a Believer.
It's not I'm a Believer. It's a different song.
No, that's the song that they cover in that.
They wanted a Smashing Pumpkins song.
What song, though?
I don't remember.
1979.
Yeah, something like that.
Despite all my rage.
Let me look it up because you're.
No, I get. I understand what you're saying.
So, which side are you on with that? Because they're completely different bands.
I will always side on the person that did it initially because I think it's so easy to call back and say this is what was supposed to happen. Like I was supposed to get that role. I hate when people do that shit. It's similar. I hate when fighters make excuses for losses. Like months later, I had a bad back coming into that fight. Shut the fuck up. You lost.
So
you lost that one. Then it could have been true. Sure.
This is my belief. I think Smashing Pumpkins are telling the truth, but I'm on Smash Mouth's side because that's all they have.
Yeah, that's all they have, and to the respect that they've made quite the career out of it. They're still like you still can't hear All Star and not sing along with it. Dude, how many times have we broken that out into song in random places?
Once.
No, we've done it I've done it other places.
I'm sure you did.
So listen, yesterday, the landlord and I went down to Asbury Park, went to the beach for the day. And someone has like a big ass boombox, and all of a sudden Whitney Houston's version of the national anthem starts playing from the Super Bowl.
Why?
So I stood up. And then I'm not kidding you, Ralph. Like 100 people around me stood up right after I did. I led the national anthem. No one was standing up, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a national anthem.
My question is, who plays the national anthem? It's just like a track.
And then immediately right after came. It was all the dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Literally went from the national anthem to Biggie. It was the funniest shit. But I was so grateful that everyone stood up with me as I stood up, especially on the. It was hours before we learned about the passing of an American hero and John McCain. So I had some. So I was like, I did that for Mr. McCain. Rest in peace, John. You're an American hero despite being captured.
And one last thing.
All right.
So we talk about lots of food here, but we tend to go back to fast food. Because
yeah, of course. I had a nice quesarito for breakfast, a chicken quesarito. Oh. It was delicious.
What's a quesarito again?
That's the quesadilla inside the burrito. Delicious. Yeah. Fantastic.
So apparently, the McDouble is claimed to be the cheapest and most nutritious meal in human history.
According to who?
So the guy who wrote Freakonomics said that for its $1, the double cheeseburger from McDonald's contains 390 calories, 23 grams of protein, half a daily serving, 7% your daily fiber, 19 grams of fat, and 20% of your daily recommended amount of calcium, all for between $1 and $2, which, given its nutritional value, in human history, is the cheapest bang for your buck meal ever.
So maybe you should get off the juice cleanse and
go
on,
to a double.
No, do the juice cleanse, but put a McDouble in it too. So you'll be getting all that other stuff.
I read the
article.
article.
Try that. If we did that, would you do that on the show?
I don't know if I could do that.
Why? I'll do it with you. How about that? We'll both drink one.
So what are we doing?
We're gonna get the stuff you need for your cleanse. What do you have? A magic bullet or just a blender?
Ninja blender.
Okay, so bring it here the next episode. I'll get some McDoubles. We have McDonald's right up the road. Let's do it. I got to see next week. I think I want to have Grohow on next week because we still have to get him back on, so I have to see what his availability
Can he
is.
still host the show?
Yeah,
I want him to
down.
host.
We're going to let him open up now that we have all our mic
I guarantee
stuff.
this is how it's going to go. And go. And he goes, what do I say?
Hey, Ralph Dan, thanks for having me back. I'm glad the mic's working this
I'll
time.
do it, but...
Yeah, why not?
I'm not gonna.
We haven't done a food thing in a while. Although I got to tell you,
get thickened water.
So how you talked about in their last episode, you were concussed from the belt, and I was listening to Fudge and Finn Shots for Like podcast, and they were like, I guess he has a concussion, so I don't think we could hit Ralph with the dildo. They wanted to hit you on the head with the dildo they have around. I would let him hit me with a dildo.
Yeah, sure.
You haven't lived until you've been hit with a dildo. There was this band.
I'm passing on
it
that.
It was a local like grindcore band called I Am the End, and on their merch table they always had a dildo. And I watched this kid that I don't remember what his name was, but I knew him from other people. And he takes the dildo and he puts his behind his back and he calls his one friend up to him, and he just fucking bitch slapped the fuck out of him with the dildo. One of the bass player from the band comes back. He's like, Dan, I'm not gonna lie to you. Our last show, that dildo disappeared for about an hour and came back and it was sticky. I'm like, dude, like, he's like, and you kept it? Like, yeah, why not? I mean, we've all been slapped with items that we didn't want to be slapped with before. Purple mushroom tattoo. You know, that old gag.
Yeah.
So I had a couple things here.
All right.
Paris. I don't ever plan on going to Paris. I have no interest in going to overseas or European countries besides Italy. But Paris, because I guess they're getting overrun between tourists and citizens using like public bathrooms, that they started installing these things, and I can show you the picture of it. It looks like just a regular garbage can, but it's just so you can go up and take a piss in it.
All right, let me take a look.
Type in Paris.
I just gotta do Paris toilet.
Paris urinal or something. I saw the picture of it. I was fucking howling. There's a like a boat going by near the water, and this dude just is just buried in a fucking urinal. Now I think like I'll find it.
These are the ones you're talking about?
Yeah. There was one that just looked like a straight up trash.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
Like it literally just looks like a trash can, and there's a guy just taking a piss in it.
It's a good idea.
Now, I think it's a great idea. But now the question is, I don't think you'd be allowed to do big boy pee there. Now, big boy pee is when you pull your pants and your underwear down to your ankles so your ass is out. And I do this in public bathrooms sometimes. I don't think.
Is there ever a second you are not attention craved?
You're one to talk, motherfucker.
You're.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great.
We're both attention-seeking cunts. That's why we have a podcast. We love it. I openly admit I have no problem. I love getting attention. I just don't like, just like you, I don't like when the attention's about me. I like stealing it from other people.
They have a little men's room sign, like...
Yeah, like they imagine taking, like, but they didn't make one to take a shit yet. Or you could just do what they're doing in San Francisco and just shit on the sidewalks. Actually, like that to me is still astounding that you could just take a dump on the sidewalk. Like, can you just go to the woods and take a dump? Like what?
Ooh, look how edgy that is.
Oh, you guys should see this. It's a urinal. It looks like an open mouth, and someone painted Trump behind it. Really edgy, guys.
Taking a risk on that.
Yeah, really. You're really driving home.
You know
what?
Wait.
Is.
I'm sorry. I think that.
Oh yeah, social justice. Yeah. Someone else called you a social justice warrior to me earlier this week.
For what? What was it?
I don't remember
because I called out David Duke.
No, I think it was a lot of people really liked the pedophilia joke I made about Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks when he goes on the ice and he just molests the kids and then it was just silence. And I think it's you're editing out of certain words I say, which I'm trying not to do. You have to for your Pizza Hut job. You work corporate for Pizza Hut, so you can't really do that.
It's got its what was it? A burnt hot dog pizza.
Burnt hot dog pizza. So yeah, with Paris, I mean, you would use one of those urinals if they were out in public. I mean, they're legal.
I wouldn't even.
I mean, I love to piss in public. I think it's such a refreshing feeling.
Do you have any problems using pooping in public? Like,
no, none. I will shit anywhere.
I don't understand people that do. Like Ken, he only plays home games.
He only shits at home?
No, he will not.
I feel like that's more of a female thing. Like most females I know, they say they'll only poop at home. In high school, for example, though, our bathrooms were so disgusting. Like, you know how disgusting the bathrooms were. Cigarettes, pills, Coke, just everything there. What is that?
It's a bunch of hot dogs in a crock pot.
That's awesome. So in high school, stole and then returned a key to the teacher's bathroom, and I would go in there and shit until one day Mr. LaCroix walked in on me shitting. So that was really nice.
Who's Mr. LaCroix?
He was a history teacher. LaCroix, tall guy, tall. That's all I can tell you. I don't remember much about it.
Wait, is this high school or middle school?
High school. I stole the
I don't
high
remember him.
Faculty key, which, no, but as far as like pooping in public, I literally have no issues shitting anywhere. I'll shit at a quinceañera. I'll shit on a quinceañera. Bob will puke on the quinceañera. But no, legitimately, pooping in public, I don't see the problem. People have been shitting for all of human history. They've been shitting in public. In San Francisco, they're shitting on the sidewalks. The idea of getting poop shy to me, like, what is someone going to hear me fucking ripping ass while I'm
what
duking?
I don't understand
like, I don't care. If it smells bad, sorry, I had to shit.
I don't understand the people that are pee shy too. Like,
I do get pee shy.
What? How?
But just someone standing that close to me, and I know they're holding their dick too. It's just something about it, and like it's always me. I don't know what it is. I will get pee shy. I get pee shy in front of the landlord sometimes. But if I had to like just drop trowel and drop a brick, I probably would be fine. How many times a day without the cleanse do you poop on average?
I poop once around 10.
I'm a 10:30 every day.
10 to 10:30, and then another one at 2. And
depends on what I eat.
No, I'm pretty consistent. 10 and 2 are usually.
I have my yogurt, my Greek yogurt at 9:15 every day usually, and then by 10:30 I have to poop. And then I would say I'm a 2 a day, but I'm also an incredibly generally fast pooper. Like I can be in and out in 20 seconds. If I'm wiping properly is another question, but I can be done pooping within 30 seconds generally.
What are you talking about?
You asked me if I get poop shy, so I'm going into the details of pooping. I think people care about it. No matter what you do think about your pooping habits. Everyone does.
And I really don't.
You don't think about your pooping habits?
I mean,
do you get stuck in a deep scroll when you poop on your phone? Do you scroll and then you realize, I've been scrolling through Facebook for 20 minutes?
Yeah, but I don't philosophize driving home going like, I wonder how much I poop.
No, I don't think about it like that, but when I can discuss it, I can go over my poop habits for hours.
That actually reminds me of some. So
yeah, exactly.
When we die, say there is a heaven and you go to heaven and they go, here's a book. And it has the answers to any question you have related to your life.
Okay.
I think the first thing I would say is how many pounds of poop did I make in my life?
Oh, that's a good one. Or how much? I would like to know how much time I've spent pooping in my life. Like, I've lived X amount of hours and I've spent this amount of hours taking shits. But I want that to include not just the time it took to fully shit, but the amount of time I sat in the toilet in the process of an individual duty.
Yeah, I definitely take about 10 minutes.
I used to have
at work.
When I worked at Best Buy. I had this app.
How much you poop at work app?
No, Poop Salary.
Yeah,
it's called Poop Salary, and you type in how much you got paid per hour. When you sit down, you press start, and when you're done, you turn it off. And at that point, when I was working at Best Buy, I was like training like 4 or 5 days a week. I was having a lot of protein shakes, a lot of supplements. I would spend like maybe 45 minutes a shift at Best Buy on the shitter. And I always use the handicap stall, which, have you ever had that problem where you're in the handicap? Do you use the handicap stall often? I will almost always use a handicap stall.
I will use it if I have to, but I will try not to use it.
I don't give a fuck. There's no sticker it's not like a handicap placard.
Yeah, I don't think too much about it.
It's a very uncomfortable feeling when you're using the handicap stall, stretching out, and then you happen to see some wheels roll up. You see some crutches right underneath. They're trying to get in, and you're sitting there. You're not hobble-legged or a mutant, and you're just taking advantage of what they need to duty.
Here's the thing. At my job, though, we have enough restrooms. There's more than one on
Best
on the
Buy
floor.
only had a handicap stall, a regular stall, and then 2 urinals. So, and I was always using the handicap stall.
Do you do anything that contributes to society at all?
If you need to go see Jimmy Buffett in concert, I got you.
Like, you've never told a story where you benefit others. All you do is take, or at bare minimum, neutral.
Yeah, I try. I think the real idea in life is you want to get by doing the bare minimum generally. You want to remain in the background, but you still want people to know you're there. And I think I'm pretty good at that. I won't be there if you need me, but if you don't need me, I'll make sure you know I'm there. Is that fair to say? You know I'm there.
Yes, I know.
So, and I have one other thing. This is amazing. We were really mature today. Urinal, and then man fired for farts at work. Have you heard
Yeah,
about
I saw this guy.
This
guy
asshole.
rules.
And he got fired for it. For 6 months, he was recording himself farting at his desk, which it's funny. It's immature, but it's sending it to your friends. And, I mean, he's a little old to be doing that. Like, I would joke about it with my friends, not record it. And he got fired for it. Like, come on. That was like do you see the girl that got fired from NASA for her tweets? But apparently that's not why she got fired. I don't know exactly what it is.
Rehire
they
her?
rehired
Yeah.
her. It's just a major outrage story because that's the world we have to live in.
Wait, well, who are we actually? I don't even know who we're supposed to be mad at in this one. NASA.
I think it was the
girl,
guy because the girl that first said it and his language, and she said, "Suck my dick. I work for NASA," and he's like,
I'm on the board of directors.
I'm the board of directors for NASA." Shit. But the problem was not her, but all the people defending her going after the guy, which is again the problem with the Twitter mob, the social media mob. It's too much.
I hate Twitter.
I think Twitter, I think it's a great tool, and I do like Twitter, but the way they police is absurd. I think like you should have like a checkbox, like I don't want to see tweets about this. If you're interested in politics, you should only follow the news that you like and ignore everything else, which is what I try to follow a little bit everything, so I like seeing the extreme ends on both sides.
You know what I think they should do? Put a cap on how much you're allowed to tweet. You only get 5 tweets a day.
5 tweets a day. People would take advantage of it. What if you're a company, though? Do you get more than that? If you're like I think a personal account, maybe I think that's fair. But if you're a company promoting something, you should be more than 5.
I mean,
but you can't. I think if you're doing that, you should be like, you can't have personal opinions on here.
Yeah, like if you go over the 5 cap, okay, this is what it is. You get 5 tweets of. Generally, you could say what you want. You can't be like super homophobic. You can't racist. You can't like threaten anyone. Like but looser than how it is.
Yeah.
And then
there's no like standard operating procedure they have for how they do things.
It's just this is how we want Twitter
deal
to
with
be.
it.
Yeah. You get 5 tweets, and generally it's hard to get in trouble for those 5. You can still, but
correct.
Okay. Then, if you're a company, you're allowed to promote yourself, but those are monitored like a hawk. That if you are in that, you have to be middle of the road. Like, you can't have any opinions. It's just, this is a product, blah, blah, blah. I'd even go as far as, if you get violated at all, then your tweets need to be approved for a while. Like, really hard monitoring.
Or finally they say that, okay, fine, here, you only get this amount now.
And a personal person isn't allowed to get to that. You have to prove you need that level. Like, you can't be like, I'll pay $100 and tweet.
Yeah, I definitely think there needs to be something different, but I just think it'd be a lot easier if people didn't look up things they know. People they want to be habitually offended. They go out of their way to be offended and be bothered, and they look up these things that they know they're going to get them angry. And I'm as guilty of this as anyone. I like being angry, but I'm also not making it to the point where it's consuming my entire being, which is what so many people do.
I very rarely get really angry. I'll get like joking angry or like get annoyed, but like I never hold it.
No, I never hold it. I like acting like I do, but it's there's too many people that they need Twitter and being angry and upset and offended by things give them purpose. And I think when social media becomes your purpose, it's part of the problem. When you need the constant gratification from people, the instant gratification, people,
the feeling of superiority,
people justifying your opinions. Like if you really like want to have your opinions justified, you stay in the circle of people that you know have the same feelings as you. It's pretty simple. And that's where Twitter was probably, and Facebook and YouTube and all these social media platforms were allowed to just say, do what you want. And then when they realized maybe this was a mistake, it was too late. The genie's out of the bottle. You can't do anything else now. And that's the problem. And then we get fucking banned for nothing. Literally nothing on that one. I don't think I said anything edgy even about stupid things like people having, like Scarlett Johansson having to drop out of a role. I don't even think I talked about that on the podcast page, the transgender role.
I have one question.
Go for it.
This is completely unrelated, but
sure.
I just go to ESPN throughout the day just to see if like there's any breaking news or whatnot. Top headline. John McCain fondly remembered as a passionate boxing fan. When you think of John McCain, do you think of boxing?
Okay, so that's funny you say that. Yes, actually I do.
I'm not even saying it like I really never knew that.
The landlord's parents were just here a little while ago, and we were talking about John McCain passing away. And one of the first things I said, one of the first things I think of with him is that he is one of the biggest reasons the UFC is as relevant as it is now and regulated and as popular as it is. He was such a big boxing fan. He was one of the original opponents. He called the UFC human cockfighting, and that forced the UFC into coming up with better rules and regulation and getting passed by athletic commissions so they could get back on pay-per-view. He was always ringside at big boxing fights, and I always watched them, so you'd see him there all the time.
They have a book on this. Yeah,
so I will say, just because you never really were big on combat sports, you didn't follow them like I did. I grew up with them in my household my whole life.
Yeah, my dad liked boxing, but
he didn't follow it like that. I will say, but I would say there's a lot of people that if you are not a sports fan, you do not think about that. Like I just told the landlord and her mom that John McCain, the whole human cockfighting and the UFC having to change their rules and regulations because of his statements, because he was such a powerful figure in Washington. So that is pretty interesting. So actually, we just talked about the UFC. Did you hear about UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell? What happened to him?
I never even heard of the guy.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't. He's not that great. He's more of like an up and coming fighter. So he posted these tweets. And you could look up Bryce Mitchell if you want. It's a top headline. Everyone was talking about it. He was doing construction in his house. Don't enter yet because I want to tell you the story and see your reaction. And he had a power drill. So don't read it. He had a power drill, and he put the power drill in his pocket, and he was moving a board. And as he's holding the board above his head, I guess he pressed on the power drill, and it tangled his nutsack. It literally went bzzz, and ripped his scrotum open. And then, because it was tangled, he had to take the power drill and put it in reverse because it was tangled up. It literally ripped his nutsack open. And he's like, I guess I'm not going to be training for a while. Go ahead, Google it now. He posted a picture of his bloody boxer shorts. Dude, that is one of the most gnarly fucking stories.
All right, it's time for our hot takes. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna bother. I don't want to see it.
Oh boy, that's yeah. I mean, I guess we could do hot takes. So we actually flowed through this one pretty well. We're gonna be less than an hour and a half. So
yeah.
And then I'm gonna try and get Grow How next week. We haven't had a guest in a while, so I'm hoping to have a guest next week.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out. So Ralph, I have to think of a hot take. So why don't you come up with yours?
So this actually was recommended by our friend and fan Alan.
Okay.
There's a big app that dropped this week.
Ooh.
Did you subscribe to the Mike's On app?
I am subscribed. I am paid. I'll show you right now.
Did you do the year?
No, I'm doing monthly for now to make sure they have content I want. I don't care about $8.99 a month. I don't care.
I would care if it was worth it. What are your thoughts on the app so far?
Well, he's done the live broadcast on Friday, which I really enjoyed, and he went live yesterday at like 2 p.m. and it was really cool.
I'm going to be honest, I do not think this app is going to deliver at all.
I don't think at $8.99 a month it's going to deliver long term, but the thing I'm most excited about is the archives of Chris or Mad Dog and Mike.
I think that's interesting. I don't think it's $8.99 interesting because here's
$5 a month would be
that's the kind of show where it's hard to. There's classic moments, don't get me wrong, but a show like Stern, Opie and Anthony,
you could do it for hours.
You could do any time. Sports shows are only relevant on the day they come out. Correct. I won't even listen to a sports show from yesterday because yesterday's news doesn't matter. So that archive, while it's a little bit of a novelty, it has no lasting. There's nothing to it beyond that. The only thing I am interested in is his commentary during games,
after games.
But again, I have a feeling that Mike's just going to phone it in like he does everything.
Yeah,
I'm really not.
I tend to agree. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
It's a very poorly designed app too.
Most apps are when they first come out though. I don't think I only learned just recently at work how difficult an app actually is to like make function properly, especially when you have archives and.
He had a long time to develop it though.
Yeah, in theory. But I listen. I'm gonna ride it until I decide that it's not worth it. But being such a fan,
I might keep it for football season. That's
well, I definitely want it for his Sunday football. I love his Sunday football show. I think it's one of the best out there.
I like it. I don't know if I like it. $8.99 a month.
No, $8.99 a month for now. I don't care about, but it should realistically be like a $5 a month thing, and I think a lot more people you would see be going with it for sure.
Yeah. So far, I'm going to say I think it's going to be a bust, or it won't be a bust, but it will be a third of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I'm a fanboy as you are.
I
So
love Francesa.
I'm gonna ride with it for a little bit and see how I like it. But the thing I do like about it is that JJ is gonna be on it a lot. I think the exclusive content, and I do think that that's the platform. I could totally see Mike eventually, when his contract's up, making this like a compound media type thing where he has other people.
Well, he even
on.
said that's what he wants to do. He wants to develop young
If anyone's
talent.
going to be able to, and it's amazing. Him and JJ are really good together
because he's Russo.
Yeah, he's literally
Russo, but like,
and
a
you could
little
tell
normal.
you could tell he admires JJ, and he sees like a little bit of his young self or Dog's young self.
I noticed that Mike doesn't seem to like people that remind him of himself. I don't know if it's competition or just he doesn't like his style or
That's
he likes
fair.
being. So I do find he works best with people that are polar opposite of him. Once in a while, when he has someone on, like for instance, Bill Simmons.
Yeah.
Say what you will about Bill Simmons. I can't stand the guy because he's a Boston homer, but he's fantastic when he's with him and Mike. I think they have great
also,
chemistry.
I respect him because he's one of the first people that told ESPN to shove it up their asses.
Yeah, no.
With the Ringer, he does,
He-
and he
I-
makes some great documentaries.
I respect him. I hate him.
Yeah,
There's a
I
difference.
agree completely.
So, but he also, when he interviews like a boring guy, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, I check out of that because it's Mike talking to Mike.
Are you hoping that he gets Richard Gere on?
I like Richard Gere. I seem to be in the minority. there.
Okay, so I won't say
Dick Gere.
I hate.
Remember when he went as Dick Gere?
Well, yeah, there's a Twitter account that's called Snooze Near, and it's just like you can read all 4 of my books or listen to an hour of my show. You'll fall asleep either way. Yeah, I don't hate Near. I think when it's like early in the morning he's on, I can tolerate him because it's like the right pace on like a Saturday or Sunday morning. So
Nothing will beat. I love on a Sunday Ed Randall talking baseball.
Ed Randall talking baseball.
I'll tell you this. Unless you are a diehard baseball fan, it would be the worst show for you.
I agree, but he gets some really like cool random guests on all the time.
He gets weird guests, and he takes like he'll do a show on like the rise of Tommy John, like just cool baseball only things.
Oh, I have to tell a Howard Michael Kelly story, don't I?
Why don't you do that for your hot take? Unless you got something else.
I didn't really have anything else. So Howard Michael Kelly story we're going to close out with.
I'm taking my headphones off just for a second.
Okay, I'm going to tell the story of one of the most infamous parties that we've ever had amongst our friends group. And Ralph, you didn't make it that night, unfortunately. No. And I think Spooner left before it really got weird. So Howard Michael Kelly's there. It's at one of our friends' houses. This is that I made the Party All the Time mix. The burnt CD that Party All the Time 20 times on it. And Howard Michael Kelly's not much of a drinker. Okay, and
he actually messaged me on
I
Facebook. I forgot to respond.
He messages me all the time. He just sends me like the plate of food he's about to eat sometimes, and then tells me about his personality disorder. So he got pretty loaded, and we just started. Okay, hold on. This is a message from Howard Michael Kelly. No big deal.
But don't read it yet. I don't know what it says. I just read like the first 2 lines.
I'm gonna read it anyway. No big deal. Was unfortunately having issues with state health insurance. Didn't want to risk being away from doctors too long. Only was an NJ for 7 days. PA for 14. Where did I come up with 17? So
what's he talking?
I don't know. So at this party, he gets completely shit faced, and he's just being annoying. He's running around. So we Ben Holman was there. And me and Ben take a cooler that's filled with ice water, and we just fucking dump it on him in his clothes. Just he gets drenched, he had his phone in his pocket.
Again, you do not contribute anything.
Okay, so he's like, I'm freezing. I was like, okay, we'll get you something. Me and Ben walk away. We come back, and Tom's back is to us, and we pick him up, and we throw him in the pool at the party in his clothes again. We took his phone and his wallet out of his pocket first.
Yeah, at least you thought.
So now he's like freezing cold. He's in his clothes. And then we're back by the trampoline, and there's like people hooking up on the trampoline. And this is the kid we called all kinds of Lord of the Rings names because he looked like a hobbit. We called him Chodo Baggins because of his stump dick. And this asshole decided to take a Lord of the Rings class in college, despite being made fun of for looking like a hobbit all these years. And this asshole, while people are on this trampoline hooking up, keep in mind we're all 21, 22, everyone's hooking up. There's like 6 people hooking up on this trampoline. And he starts speaking Elfish to people. Aww. He's speaking full elf language. And would you look up the bloody boxers?
I did.
So he's speaking Elvish. We tell him to go away. So I'm standing there, and my friend Kelly McLean is now there, and she fucking hates Howard Michael Kelly. And I just opened up a beer. She goes, Dan, give me your beer. Howard Michael Kelly standing about 15 feet from us. She takes my beer, and she threw the perfect Randy Johnson fastball, and it's Howard Michael Kelly right in the face with a can of beer, and he drops. So now he's sitting there freezing. We bring him inside, and the owner of the house, whose name I don't want to give away because it wasn't a party, he was supposed to have.
Can you just write it down just so I have context?
And so it was at his house, and he's like,
Oh, you did that to Taylor's house?
no, yeah, exactly. So he had to go and change Howard Michael Kelly's clothes because he was soaking wet.
So wait, was he so drunk that like he couldn't function?
Yeah, he was completely shit-faced. He started speaking like Super Mario at one point with like a thick Italian accent. So this person had to change his clothes into his clothes, and then we just laid him down on the floor. He's dry now, whatever. The night got really weird. I walked inside and I accidentally exposed myself to that person's grandmother who was there. Like I was in my underwear and I just pulled down my underwear and I looked at her and I just nodded my head, and Mike White was like, "I'm sorry for everything" to her. So the next morning we wake up and we go to get Howard Michael Kelly, and we walk up and he stinks like a fucking homeless person. Pissed himself in that person's clean clothes that they put him in, completely drenched him in piss, puked on the clean shirt. So we make him go outside, and the owner of the house who threw this party, he's power washing the deck because there's vomit all over from other people. There's macaroni and cheese places. Ugh. He starts power washing Howard Michael Kelly. I have a video of him running away from it. He tries juking away from the water stream at one point.
Maybe and the most unathletic person I ever met.
So then the homeowner that threw the party finds Howard Michael Kelly's clean clothes that we couldn't find the night before, his change of clothes, throws them on the ground, and he just pisses on them.
This guy did it?
Yeah, him. I know. It's shocking now in hindsight. But that was one of the biggest ragers of a party I can think of, and Howard Michael Kelly got serious abuse.
I forget why I couldn't go to that one. I actually had a reason to.
Spooner was so mad that he left after like only an hour. That party just got fucking rambunctious.
So much about that party.
Rambunctious. And to this day, the homeowners still don't know about it.
What year was it?
I want to say this was 2011. Yeah, it was 2011, I'll say. Maybe 2010.
I know I didn't go.
2010, 2011.
I remember now.
It was the first year we were open at Best Buy, 2010, actually.
There was a personal reason I didn't go. Not interesting for the...
Hemorrhoids?
No, it's not interesting.
Hernia.
Yeah, it was hernia.
Yeah, we had one of those after. All right, so I guess we're going to wrap up now.
Real quick, I got an idea.
Yeah.
I just, I think I mentioned it briefly, but would you be, maybe once in a while, instead of doing our hot take, have the fiance, the landlord, just third-party people, take and write on little pieces of paper just random things that we want.
That's a great idea.
And then whatever it is, for at least 10 minutes, we need to talk about that topic.
So why don't we? Okay, here's a general idea then.
But we don't know what any of them are because we're completely off guard.
Oh, so we'll have them write it up and then put it in a hat and we pull it out or something?
And we have it just forever in there. When we're dead air, we can't think of anything, we can pull one out.
I like it. Okay, we'll talk to both of them. We'll get things from each of them. Okay, so anyway, again, this is episode 16 of You Watch I Listen. Go to
Dan.
You Watch I... No, you're not. You go to youwatchilisten.com. Find us on Twitter now. It's at Jersey, Piroz, at Ralph, YWIL.
I barely tweet, but once in a while
you can find us on Facebook, Attack Moves Network, which we're still trying to get changed because we're jackasses.
Your fight with Twitter has been my fight with Facebook over that.
Yeah. So again, give us a review, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Listen to us on In the Pit.
And look for us on In the Pit with Taylor Micah, which will be dropping tomorrow as well.
By the way, the homeowner was